Hello, this is April with Craft Knife Chronicles, and I'm here to introduce the series of videos that demonstrates how to build the French Country Portal. The French Country Portal is a three-dimensional paper project that consists of basically two parts. A scene on the top that has 4 different panels that are each inside of a window of a separate box. And then those boxes sit on a base, and that base has a drawer in it that holds a mini album. The unique feature of this project is that each of the 4 boxes that compose the scene have distinctive elements, so they can either be viewed together as the completed portal, or you can view them separately and see some little additional elements that are not seen when it's part of the portal. There is a construction guide that accompanies these videos. You can see it here on the table in front of me. The first page just has some photos and some very basic descriptions of the project. Then there are 2 other pages which detail cutting and any other kinds of information that is needed for the project. On this first page, it talks about all the medium weight chipboard that is needed, what sizes, the quantities, if it's important to have the stiffness of each piece going in a certain direction, black cardstock, and some of the other materials that are needed to complete the project. And then on the second page, there's a detailed listing of all the French Country paper from Graphic 45 that was used to decorate all of the elements of the project. It again details the quantity, what paper pad it came from, the name of the paper, and then the side that shows how it was cut, and any kind of special notes that are helpful. And these supplement the video, which usually I do state the sizes, but sometimes you'll need to refer to the specifics in these papers. I've also included a checkmark column so that if you're preparing the project, you can check off and keep track of what you have. So what we'll see here is how to make the portal, and here's the first box. You can see it's a box that's about 8 by 3 inches. Then we have a second box that slips up inside that has the rooster part of it, and that just, all these boxes slide in from the bottom. Well, actually when it's in the portal, they slide down from the top. The third box and scene we'll create are the postcards. And finally, in the very back of the scene, and what's visible in the portal are only the stamps. You see these elements now when it's in its separate view, but you'll notice in a moment that the only thing you'll see is the stamps once it's inside of the portal. So that's what we'll learn to make in the portal construction. And in the base construction, we will make this unit, which the portal stands on this graduated platform here. And then in the base, there's a drawer. It's a little hard to see black on black here. Now the mini album isn't in the drawer right now, and there are no videos for the mini album, but there is a snap guide that you can watch to learn how to make the mini album. So that's what we're going to be accomplishing in these videos, and let's get started. All the pieces for the 4 boxes have been cut out, and what I have in front of me that we'll use as an example are the pieces for box number 3, the 7-inch box. So the first thing we're going to do is to build our scene. And each of the 4 boxes is going to have a window cut in the front panel, and we'll build a portion of the scene in that window. We construct all of them exactly the same and finish all the boxes exactly the same. It's just the little seams pieces that are in each window that are different, and of course the pattern paper that we use to decorate the boxes. So you can see I have the front and the back. I have two sides and the top, and the boxes, none of the boxes have a bottom piece. They are all open on the bottom. So the first thing we want to do is to take one of the large pieces, they're both exactly the same, and cut out the window frame in that. And no matter what size the box is, we are always going to cut an opening that leaves a 1-inch frame all around. So I'm going to do that for box number 3, and then I'll be back to talk about the next step. So here is the front panel for box number 3. As you can see, it has a window cut out in it, and all of these sides measure 1 inch. And just to repeat, no matter what the size of the box, whether it's the 8-inch box or the 6.5-inch box, they all have a 1-inch frame on either side, all sides. Now the next thing we want to do is finish the inside opening of the frame. And because I'm working in black and it's a little bit difficult to see, what I have here is another an example that's just in the plain brown chipboard, just to make it easier to see. And what I want to do is finish the inside and edges of this frame first. And I'll just use my black finishing strips. And you could miter these corners, but I think this method works just as well, and it certainly is a lot, I think, a lot simpler. So what I'm going to do is to I have the edge of my finishing strip just butted right up into the corner here of the frame, and I'm just making a little tick mark to see how long to cut this piece so it fits right inside of the frame here. So I'll cut that off. And I'll just remove one side of the score tape backing. And when I put this in here, the part that doesn't have the backing on is the part that's going to go on the front here. And I'm just keeping it in like an L formation so that I can bring it up tight against that edge, and then make sure that I get that down, and then I'll just burnish that before I go any further. So now we'll flip this over and remove the tape backing from this side. And take our bone folder kind of along that edge first vertically, and then I'm just kind of turning it over so that I gradually make that turn and then get that burnished down. And then I'll come and burnish on the inside here to get a nice crisp edge there. And I'll repeat that process on the opposite side. I've completed the other side, as you can see, and now we're ready to turn it and finish the opposite sides. And so what I have here, you need a piece of your finishing strip that measures the length between the outside of these two strips, so that I'll give this a little trim, and then I think you'll be able to see that. So now I think you can see what size I cut that to. The first thing I want to do is to cut a little notch out of this corner right here. That is the same width, or 3/8. All of these finishing strips are 3/4 of an inch wide and scored at 3/8. So I'm just cutting a little notch there. I think you can see that. And what's going to happen here is that notch is going to fit right into that corner. And then so once I have that butted up into that corner, I'm going to make a little tick mark at this end on the edge of the window so I can see where to cut out a little square just like I did on the front side, or the first side there. So I end up with a piece that looks like this. And this piece, and you may want to dry fit it before you take the backing off, should fit right inside like so. Now mine is a little bit snug, so I'm just going to take off just a little teeny trim. There we go. And so again, what we want to do is remove the backing from the piece that we're going to put down first, and in our case it's the longer side. We'll hold this up just like we did before on the inside and make sure we have that folded edge snug up against our line. And once we do that, then we'll come in with our bone folder and then flip it over, remove the backing from this side, burnish, and of course get that nice neat edge. Now to me this is a lot easier to do it this way. I don't have to worry about trying to make miters and the angles and all of that. And when we bring our pattern paper on here, we're only going to have a little bit of a reveal, so you won't, even if these corners aren't exactly perfect, you will never notice that. So let me put this aside, and I will finish my 4 black box fronts, and then we'll be back to see the next step.